Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, species around the multiverse, welcome to Geek Syndicate episode 3. Back to geekdom. I am Monts, and with me as always is...
I'm Nuge, he's Monts, we're Geek Syndicate, let's roll.
Yeah, so today we are going to we're going to do a little bit of stuff, a few minutes, but mostly we are talking about Avengers Endgame, and there is literally no point literally no point in talking about it without there being spoilers. So if you haven't seen it yet, this is not the episode for you.
Move along, nothing to see here.
Yep. But first, I just want to... Can we go straight to week that was?
Yeah, of course we can, man. Hit it, man.
All right, so just because I just wanted to talk about a superhero movie that I watched that wasn't Avengers Endgame.
Okay. Okay.
And it wasn't a Marvel movie, it wasn't a DC movie, and it's a superhero movie that I've been meaning to watch since it came out. I remember seeing the trailer and thinking this looks awesome. It's a Russian superhero movie called Guardians.
Oh, yeah. That's time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been on my radar since it came out in 2017.
Yeah.
And finally, I thought, I've got some time. It was just there. It's on Netflix. I'm going to watch it. It's on Amazon. It's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it. So the first thing was, the guy I was watching it with, Jamal, he says, I don't really like to do things with subtitles. Can we listen to the dub version? And I was like, all right then. And then it started, and I was like, no. Because these American voice actors, they were like hyper-American.
Okay.
And it just wasn't working with the Russian backgrounds and the Russian people and the Russian writing in the back. Like, it's not working. So I went on. There was no options to turn it off. And I'm like, there are some things I was like, they cannot be truly saying that. It's like the female military boss is like, who looks a lot like Scarlett Johansson, actually. She's like,
right.
Goes, we seem to have lost signal. What's happening? Goes, I don't know. We've lost the signal. Like, she just told you that. That cannot be what you actually said. But then it went on, and I was like, baby, I'm here to tell you, do not waste your time.
Really?
Do not wait. There's a guy who kind of turns into like a werebear. He turns into like a half bear.
All right.
And he's sitting there with the boss, and she's like, what's wrong? Because I just feel like one day I might go full bear and not be able to come back. And she looks at him with all serious and goes, that's okay. Sometimes animals are better than people.
Wow. And
what, like, the leader of the group, he's got the power to like throw rocks around.
Right. Hasn't everyone got that power though?
Well, but it's a bit like when the bad guy whoops his ass. And what they do, go, we're going to make you a special suit because you were defeated in your last battle because you ran out of rocks.
It's a phrase you don't think you're going to hear in a superhero movie. You lost because you ran out of rocks.
But the thing is, he didn't. He lost it because he was shit. So they make him a suit, which you could hang rocks on.
Wow.
And then the werebear guy, they make him a suit. He's got a machine gun on it, which patches into his nervous system. The problem being the guy they're going up against has control over machines. They keep sending like army airplanes after him. He just knocks them out of the sky because that's his power. I'm like, you guys are shit at planning.
Which is why when they caught Magneto in the X-Men movies, they locked him up in a plastic cell. It's called learning.
I mean, there's one point Jamal looks at me and goes, because I'm not being funny, this is actually shit. It's like, and like their first battle as a team, they were shit. And then they're like, and they had a training montage with music.
Right. Nice.
And then they went out and they were shit again and just got their asses whooped. And then when they got this plan, it goes, all right, we've got to get into the tower. I'll go in from the top. Yeah, I'll go in from the bottom. We'll go in from the sides. And I'm thinking, and then what? And that was the plan. And it went to hell because because the guy going in from the top, he's on the plane, couldn't get close enough because of the force field that they knew was there already. And I'm like, what is happening? I don't understand. And one girl's power is to go invisible, and then she got beaten because, like, apparently she could control her body temperature, but she got beaten the first time because they froze her. And I thought you could control your body temperature, so they made her a suit. It goes, this suit will help you to go invisible instantaneously. I thought she's already doing that. And then he goes, just by flexing your neck muscles. What is happening? What is happening? And basically, all the boss woman does is she walks up to someone and goes, and she takes off her glasses and goes, are you okay? And then they say, I had a brother once, and blah, blah. And they start telling them life story. I'm like, what? I don't understand. Who wrote this?
And why?
How did it get past? And blatantly, the way they ended it, they were blatantly planning the sequel. Because they're all going, yeah, we're going to go back to our own lives now. But you've talked. So this woman is the head of this elite military unit over superpowered people, yeah? And right at the end, she comes up to them all, and they're all looking off into the distance, because that's what you do. And she goes, you have taught me the power of friendship. And I'm like, that's the plot of My Little Pony. And I'm like, and then they're all going off. She goes, we found other guardians. Do-do-do-do-do-do. That was it. And it was great. And they had a post-credit scene, which was pointless. They're transporting a woman, and she breaks out and like kills the guards. And before she kills the last guard, she goes, tell me who sent you. And my boy didn't even wait half a second. Yeah. He's like, serum. She goes, and then it ends.
Right.
Literally, do not waste your time.
Unfortunately, though. Why you sold that to me? I can't not watch it. You know what I mean?
You'll see, man. You'll see, right? You got on your own head, be it.
I mean, you know, I was going to say I'll wait for a quiet moment. I don't get many quiet moments these days, but I got to say, man, maybe if I've drunk half a bottle of whiskey or something and I'm just looking for something to put on.
Well, comparing it to Endgame, it's literally half the length.
Right, I mean, it's doable then. Right, I would quickly say, moving on from Guardians, was it what it's called?
Guardians, yeah.
Guardians, okay. Not to be confused with Guardians of the Galaxy, which is actually a good film.
Exactly. No, so with that out of the way, we've got a little...
got a little rant out of the way.
Yeah. Let's go talk about Avengers Endgame.
Pause for
Where
dramatic effect.
to even start?
Right, so I've got the plot. I've got the plot.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yep.
Did you think it was too long?
Knowing your feelings on 3-hour movies, I'm probably fairly confident what you're going to say. I personally, the time did not bother me in the slightest.
Because I remember at the end of Infinity War thinking, oh, there must be at least half an hour left. And And I didn't feel that at the end of this one. Because I remember there was a little bit in the middle where I was like, boom, dum, dum. Oh, hey, we're back in. And I think it must have been, I reckon it could have lost about 15 minutes. I reckon. Okay. 15, 20 minutes. To be fair, the only film I haven't thought that about in the last 5 years was Infinity War.
Okay.
But, basically, in the scheme of things, that's a small thing.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a very small thing.
So I've got the plot. So we could go through the plot, or we could start with our overall views, or we could just chat. Let's just start with our overall feelings.
Yeah, okay.
So, Endgame, what do you think?
Loved it. Had a couple of problems.
Okay.
Didn't see Tony's death coming. In retrospect, I should have seen it coming a mile away.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see Cap bowing out in the way he did.
Yep.
Had no idea Black Widow was going to go. But that was slightly spoiled for me by knowing that they're working on a Black Widow movie.
Although that could be you don't know what kind of movie that could be, a prequel for, we know, or set
cool,
before.
Because I keep thinking about the Question, my favourite character. I wasn't ready for that character to go, but when it went, I was like, don't bring him back because that just pisses on the emotion that you stirred up in me at his death. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So I'm like, she's gone. She's gone. That's your decision. You made that decision. Stick to it. But so a little part of me was kind of distracted by that. So I kind of wish there'd been no announcement of a movie till after Endgame.
Yep.
That was all. I think that I'm just going to get out of the way the things that annoyed me,
Okay.
and then we can just celebrate it, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I was like, I think more people should have died because I'm sorry. I know these guys are superheroes. Yeah, some of them are just humans who have to have a suit or something. Yeah, and when Thanos came into the atmosphere quite near the end, and he sent like 6 missiles into Avengers headquarters.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not all of them should have crawled out of that. There's only I'm just sitting there going, all right, literally, you can't kill these people. Like, you just can't. It's impossible. It's like, where's the tension here if they are literally that hard to kill? I'm just Hulk. I get it. Ant-Man, I get it because he went small enough. I'm like, War Machine, Don Cheadle, what's it called? Isn't it Rhodey? I'm like, I can sort of buy it because he was in his suit, but still, how much stress can a suit take? Rocket Raccoon should have been done. Clint Barton should have been done. I was like, okay, look, for me, that was just pushing it. I know it's a whole suspend disbelief thing, but I'm like, come on, how much can these people take? They're not Superman.
No, I worked in the bed. To be fair, I just rolled with it anyway. But kind of thinking back to it,
especially Ant-Man, because that first missile went off in his face.
Yeah.
He was looking out the window, like, God, I think it worked. Boom. I'm like, it practically hit him. No one could shrink down that fast enough. He didn't even have his suit on.
I mean, I kind of checked it like. To be fair, I can't. This now that I can see it in my mind's eye, I'm finding it very hard to kind of like disagree with the Ant-Man move. But I just took it that the floor gave way when it hit, which is why a lot of them fell through the floor.
Exploded.
Yeah, okay.
It wasn't just one or two.
No,
it was a salvo.
It was a great scene though.
I was like, oh.
That was a great when it come out of like the time thing and then it went big and then just. You know what, right? We're kind of jumping ahead. I want to give my thoughts. Do you have anything else?
No.
Okay. Too bad.
I'm sure there was something else, but I can't remember what it was.
In my mind, if you can't remember it, it can't have been that big.
There was a small part of me that wasn't really bothered by this thing that I'm bothered by. I wasn't really bothered by it. But part of me went, I'm sure that battle was so chaotic. I'm sure someone else should have died as well, given how many hundreds of people were on the battlefield.
I'm sure people died. We just didn't see it. Nobody's died. You know what I
mean? I did see some Wakandans die and some Asgardians die, I suppose. But, yeah.
Also, the great thing about that. But no, we're jumping ahead, man. We're jumping ahead. What I want to say is, I loved it. I see the points you're saying as well, but there was nothing. And you know what, right? For me, this was as close to a live action comic. When I say comic, as in the comics that I used to read as a kid, not the new comics. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
In that they used the planning of this, right? And when I say planning, right, because a lot of this stuff wouldn't have been planned out from the beginning.
No.
Right? And yet it felt like it'd been planned out from the beginning. Because when you check it, at one stage, they didn't know they were going to do a Doctor Strange film.
No, they didn't.
Right?
They didn't.
But then when they did a Doctor Strange film, they recognized that in the comics, Doctor Strange he's like a Gandalf. He's like a mover and shaker. He's the man moving the pieces on the board. Do you know what I mean? He's always the one using the bigger picture. And I didn't really get a sense of that in his film, but I did in Infinity War. And I certainly did in this film. So it's like literally the minute my boy comes back from the dead, my boy's the hardest working man in MCU, right? Forget Iron Man, all them. The minute my boy came back, he's like, right, we're on. This is the plan that I saw. I need to get my boys together. I need to go to Wakanda. I need to send boys over here. Them sorcerers, man, they were working it.
And you know what I loved about that? Yeah, because I don't know if you remember, but I remember after we'd seen Infinity War, we were walking, and I said, "So, like, where's everybody? Where's all the armies of the world? Where's
Yeah,
the sorcerers? Where's everybody? What are they doing?" And then like this one, oh, okay, now you brought them.
yeah. Do you
And
know
I
what
was
I
like,
mean?
you answered my criticism right there and then. You brought
Yeah.
everyone into play, and I could not have been more excited when I saw Wong start coming through. I was like, yeah, and all his boys were there. I was like, come on,
I've got to
come on.
say, look, we'll come to it. We'll come back to it, man. I mean, I love the whole film, and we're jumping around with our thoughts and stuff. But from day one, the thing that I've always wanted to see as a Marvel Comics fan was someone say Avengers Assemble. Because in the comics, right, when Cap says that, it's on.
Mate.
Right? So I called it. I told you, didn't I, man? What did I say to you? I said it's going to be everyone, and then my boy's going to say Avengers Assemble. And yet, believing that was going to happen and imagining it in my head,
Could never have seen it like that.
could never have seen it like that
Let me
once.
tell you, it was just this moment where Cap looks done.
He was beat.
He was beat, and then suddenly you need any help, Cap? On your left.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, you kind of knew it was going to happen, but the excitement of it,
Yeah.
and that to me, that was the artistry of the film, knowing that it was going to be more or less okay. Still like when they came through, and then everyone's coming through, and then they keep coming, and they keep coming, and they keep coming, and they keep coming, and then he stands there and he goes, Avengers, and I was sitting next to Jamal, and we literally. And I looked at him, and he was holding his breath, and he went Avengers, and we literally grabbed each other's arms. Yeah, we were like, assemble. And, like, and it was like, but it was that month, Avengers, and everything just goes still for a second.
Yeah.
Assemble. Yeah, it is on.
It is. Oh, also, as well, I mean, that whole, in my mind, the last battle was amazing. But for me, the best part of that battle was actually where there was no battle. It was like you said, Cap was beat. He's standing alone. There's this wicked sort of side shot of him just standing, looking out over Thanos' army, and he's just and he's done, and he's like, and you see him just pick up his shield, which is broken. You know what I mean? And you see him,
you just don't stop.
You just see him tighten it. It's like, all right, let's go, man, let's go. And what killed me is when you see everyone turning up, you see the look on Thanos' face is like, oh damn. You know what I mean?
He's like, what?
So the film picks up 3 weeks after Thanos used Infinity Stones, and you've got Tony's out in deep space, and then he gets rescued by Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And that was my thing. It wasn't really a criticism, but my thing was kind of like, how do you know where he was?
Where's she come from?
Where's she come from? I know there was the pager thing, but I mean, it wasn't like he was sending specific instructions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So exactly. I don't know if there was a little bit maybe, and they didn't really seem too surprised by her when she turned up carrying the ship. So maybe she went to Earth first.
It must. I'm assuming that all those post-credit scenes where we saw her, they were just they're just assuming that you've seen them and that things has happened with that.
Yeah.
But it took me a little moment to adjust, and I had to kind of rationalize it in my head because I really thought those moments were going to be in the movie. Okay.
I quite like the fact that they're literally like, you know what? Yep, we've got a plan. We'll find him, get him to use the stones, done. And they go after him. And let me tell you, they didn't mess about.
Nah. Straight in, boom.
Talk about learning from your mistakes, man. It was no, but I think what was interesting about that bit, it kind of showed, because there's a bit where Tony is like broken when he's having a go at like Cap.
Yeah.
But it goes to show the difference of, and obviously there's an element of, I thought was quite good. Part of the reason why they were able to take him out so easily was A, he didn't have the glove, but also he'd been weakened because he'd used the glove.
Yeah.
A couple of times, and that's what had weakened him. Do you know what I mean? But it's the fact, I was thinking, where's this going to go? You know what I mean? But when he just says that...
I remember thinking, what are they going to do? Because the enemy is Thanos, but Thanos is done. So I remember on my way to cinema, I was like, so who are they going to fight?
Yeah. And then when kind of like And when Thor took off his head, I was like, well, I didn't see that coming.
I didn't at all. I didn't at all.
And apparently, neither did Thanos. You know what I mean? I was like, wow. But then I think the thing that I really didn't see coming, and it's one of the things I actually love that it's probably one of my favorite things they've done throughout MC, was the 5-year jump.
I know, and they I love the way they did it, like 5. And you're like, I know they're gonna say years.
Yeah.
Let it be weeks, even months. And they just, I know it's gonna. Yep, it's years. You're like,
Years.
wow. And the world is a different place, man.
The world's just gone to hell, man.
And you know, and I loved when they're doing that support group, because they just took 5 minutes to show you the state of the world just by someone talking about their date. And he goes, "What? How'd it go?" He started crying before the starters came, and he goes, I made it to dessert. Do you know when you go, that's the world we're living in now.
And you just got Black Widows just trying to hold it together. You know, it's just it. And what I really liked about it was they didn't give you like a post-apocalyptic world. Does that make sense? Even though you know, but it was a completely different world to the one that they knew. And
it was kind of semi post-apocalyptic, because Ant-Man was like walking in, like there's cars just parked up and they're not doing nothing, and rubbish hasn't been collected. You know, it's like they're struggling to get everything. Half of everyone's gone, struggling to work out how it all works now.
They're still trying to rebuild like the infrastructure. Do you know what I mean?
But not everything's down, because there's still people who can do stuff. So it's not like
exactly, which is what I quite like. That was like a subtle difference from a lot of shows where they do that kind of post-pop. Everything's gone. You know what I mean? So I kind of like this sort of halfway house sort of, and it was great that they brought Scott back, because he then was our eyes into kind of what was going on. And when
I've got to say, as a dad, his little journey right at the beginning there, I had tears in my eyes then. And just like, not Cassie, not Cassie, not Cassie. And he's just running, he's dashing home. And then she's 5 years older. And it's just like, and she's like, Dad, because she thought he was dead. And it was like, I mean, I was at that point, I was like, okay, I'm already gone.
Yeah, and there was a couple of moments like that in there.
Oh, and there's little moments I was sitting there, and all I could hear was like Jamal and Comfort.
And that bit where it had those massive sort of stone monoliths, where it was like
with all the names,
you're just like, wow. But what I liked about it was the fact that they did the 5-year jump. At the time, a part of me was kind of thinking, oh, okay, well, let's be honest, it's going straight away. I'm like, well, it's going to be time travel, isn't it? That's how they're going to get out of this, and they're going to do it, sort it out, and then they're going to, suddenly everything's back to normal. No one's going to remember apart from like Doctor Strange or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And what I was so grateful for was, regardless of what the mechanics of it, and regardless of what the arguments are around time travel, I just love the fact that they decided to double down on that and to say, actually, yes, we can go back in time, but we can't change shit. So,
I've seen some people complaining about the time travel aspect of it. I'm like, number one, no one actually knows the rules of time travel because it's made up. We've never done it before. We can theorize, but no one actually knows the rules. So, and it's like, they always use time travel to get out of stuff. Oh, we kind of knew it was going to happen, but we had the time stone and Doctor Strange saying blah blah blah. It's no biggie, no big surprise, is it?
Yeah.
Just enjoy the journey, man.
Yeah. But also as well, it was no surprise, but the surprise was the way they used it.
Yeah.
And the fact that at the end of the film, yes, they won, but we're still 5 years on.
Yeah, exactly.
We're still 5 years on.
And the thing is, all those people who come back, like, as far as they're concerned, they blinked and the world changed.
Exactly.
And there's aftermath to that, man.
Exactly.
And you know what? Whether Marvel choose to play that out in the films that come, I don't know. But there is an aftermath to that.
Yeah, because even when you look at Ant-Man's daughter, she had her mum and stepdad, who I'm guessing maybe one or two, maybe both of them gone. I don't know. No, because she was in the house, and maybe one of them was still alive. Do you know what I mean? But one of them is going to come back to find either her daughter or his stepdaughter is aged years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What about people who've moved on in that 5 years and have got a new partner?
Yeah. What if
basically you blink and your husband's been with someone new for the last couple of years after grieving you for 3 years? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, hold on, this ain't
What
easy.
happens? Yeah, you get into a situation. Look at what happens. What happens if one of the people that disappeared was the president? Yeah, okay, I know we could be great if it was this president, but do you know what I mean? But what happened if one of the people was disappeared was the president? Someone else came in and run the country for like 5 years, and then my boy comes back.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There's so much they can unpick in that. So I was really grateful that they didn't do a reset button.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that's what I liked. They did the time travel stuff, but it was literally just to get the stones. And I liked the way that they did that because they were able to bring in.
So much. I love it. Just the stuff like Captain America, Hail Hydra. It's like, oh, nicely done.
Yeah,
Nicely done.
yeah. And even even when they did the time travel stuff, rather than just regurgitating old footage, it was all done from different scenes and different moments, and some moments that we didn't even see before.
And I love the idea that the Sorcerer Supreme at the time was doing her part in the battle. We just never saw it, but she was part of it.
And I liked when he was talking, trying to convince her, and she's like, "Nope, not having it," and then explained like the time street, and he was like, "Yeah, but Doctor Strange gave up the time stone," and the minute he was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, he gave up willingly." Yeah, and she was just like, "Right, here you go."
Yeah, he must have a plan.
He's got a plan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what I like, man. I like that. That was good, man.
Yeah.
And even though I've made it quite clear that this isn't my Thor from the comics, I kind of got to applaud the fact that they've doubled down on comedy Thor. Because if you're gonna do it, then just do it.
I was gonna say, part of me was like, I had to adjust because the comedy Thor didn't bother me as much as it did you.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm going because having watched them all before Infinity War, they're still fairly fresh in my mind, and I'm like, they changed. It's like the original Thor film, it was Thor, and then they suddenly decided that it was going to be funny, and I'm like, okay. And having watched it so close together, I'm like, what was that about? The last couple of movies, they've just gone, yeah, we're just going pure comedy now, with moments, inspiration, and part of me was like, you've done a proper Gimli on Thor, man. And I was like, and it never bothered me as much as did you, but even watching Endgame, part of me was going, is this a little bit too far?
I see why they did it, and especially where he ends up, because he ends up with the Guardians, and I think given what they've done with his character, that's the perfect place to have him.
Yeah.
But I still miss. That's not my Thor from the comics, so I still miss that Thor. But you know what I mean. Like I said, it didn't bother me. Yeah, like you, I think there's a few people have said they found the film really predictable, and I kind of disagree with it. The only predictable part was that I knew they'd win.
Yeah,
and I knew there'd be time travel involved, but the way they did certain things surprised me. Like you said, the 5-year jump, the fact that they didn't just erase everything, the fact that they managed to bring Thanos in as a villain again. But it's a younger version of Thanos. So you'd almost say a kind of younger, hungrier, more vicious Thanos.
Yeah, you've got Gamora, who still wants to do the right thing, but at this point in her history, she's still a killer.
Yeah.
And out. Do you know what I mean? So that was an interesting spin on it.
Well, because what I loved about the fact of when you kind of discovered what they're up to and stuff, and he turns up in his ship, because they've kind of nicked the pin particles, haven't they? So the ship's been shrunk through time and comes out. What I like about this panel, he weren't messing about. There was no big speeches or nothing like that. My boy just rocked up and just leveled the place.
I love that bit. One bit, I turned to Jamal and said, "This is why you never work for the bad guy." Is when Scarlet Witch number one. Scarlet Witch brought the pain, man.
Oh yeah.
She stepped up. She was like, "I'm done. I am done. Enough." And she would have ended the thing there and then if he had.
That's what I like. My boy was struggling, man.
And he called for a strike. And if he hadn't called for a strike, it would have been done right there and then.
Yeah.
Because she was mad, and it's just like, and dude goes, but sir, our people are still here, and goes, just do it. And I'm like, this is why you never work for bad guys, man.
Not unless you're on the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
But for me, it's like I said, that fight scene was amazing. It's what we've been leading towards. And the amount of effort and as I said, the way they used all the different characters and their powers and whatever in this film, not just in the big battle scenes, but just like the pin particles. You need to have Ant-Man to have that bit. It was just brilliant. But for me, it's the bit before where Thanos is just chilling out, where he kind of sits down.
Yeah.
And he puts his helmet. He's like, "Yeah, go and get me the stones." And there's this shot and it's kind of shot from the back down. It's kind of like Captain America 4 and Iron Man just walking out slowly to face him.
Yeah.
And it's almost shot through their legs, and you see him sitting there like waiting for them, and you just think, it's on, man. It is on. Because even though he doesn't know who they are, these three men, like, they've lost so much to this guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, they're kind of like the bedrock of the MCU, man. Those are the first three characters, apart from Hulk as well, I guess. And
as much as I love the end battle, that fight between the three of them, wow, man. And then when Cap picked up the hammer, I was like, oh damn.
I know, a little part of me was going, should he be using it quite so easily? Because it just looked easy.
It did. My boy was pulling some skills, man.
And I was like, hold on, last time you struggled, you put everything into it and you made it just move a tiny bit. And this time you're just picking it up, throwing it around, making lightning come. I was like, okay, that was a bit easy.
But there's a rumor, right? There's a couple of ways to look at it. You look at that, obviously, his journey as a character since that film has been quite, The other thing is, someone else has said on this online, it's an interesting spin. I don't think it's what Whedon was playing with, though, was that he could always move it, and he didn't want to want to hurt Thor's feelings if he just picked it up. Because Vision picked up like it was nothing.
Yeah, he did.
So yeah. So but I think that served the plot of Age of Ultron. I think that was a quick and easy way for them to trust Vision.
Yeah.
But for me, this was this worked, man. It worked. Because he did some move where he'd run into Thanos and he was spinning the hammer and then he jumped and lashed him under the jaw. And I was like, wow, you gotta be, God of the universe to get up after that anyway, man, because that was a blow. And then and then literally as he landed, he then called like lightning down on him. I was like, oh.
And then there's a bit I like, and it was like, there was a bit of me that went, okay, this is a little bit obvious. I see what you're doing, but I loved it anyway. It was when all the women stood up.
You know what? I think,
and then they went to work, man.
I was going to say they literally did. When they kind of all gathered together, I was, like you said, I was kind of okay. I see where you're going, but then they were on, and the minute they went to work, it evaporated in a good way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're like, we're showing you a possibility. Now we're getting on with business. And what I quite liked with that big battle at the end was they still were able to take the time to have little moments in the battle, because that's what makes them sort of set pieces work, is the little character beats, Do
you know what? The one thing that would have made it better for me is to have had some little cameo from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, do you know?
Because May, if Black Widow can hold her own, May can hold her own.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I was like, and I don't know how that film's going to affect the series, because the last time they did that was a moment of like stand up and cheer.
Yeah.
With Winter Soldier, and then that was the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and that dramatically impacted Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in such an awesome way. I'm like, what's going to happen now? Are they gonna acknowledge it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I hope so.
They've got to, surely.
Got to. I would have liked to have seen some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the ground, shooting, kicking ass, whatever.
Yeah. I think the thing was, what I quite liked about, because I was thinking...
Just a bit of Coulson, man.
You know the bit where basically the ship is just laying down fire, and then all of a sudden the ship turns and it's firing at something else. I'm like, what's it firing at? I thought it was going to be their helicarrier.
Right.
But at the same time, I kind of didn't mind S.H.I.E.L.D. not being there, because one of the things I quite liked about all this, coming back to what Nick Fury said in Avengers, and the reasoning behind the Avengers Initiative was to set up a team of extraordinary people that could fight the battles that we couldn't.
Yeah.
And if there was ever a definition of a battle that regular people should be fighting, it was that one.
But that's like Black Widow, though. She's just regular.
No, yeah,
However,
true that. Yeah.
having said that, watching some of her fight scenes, I was watching her in action going, how has it taken so long for her to get a movie?
It's nonsense.
It is nonsense. She is so on it. I was like, how does it take so long for her to get a movie?
So just round up. So we're nearly out of time. So obviously the big sacrifice, which I thought would happen, I thought it would either be him or it would have been Steve Rogers. But in many ways, it made sense that it was Tony.
Yeah.
And I just thought when he did the I am Iron Man and then did the click, I was like, yeah, okay, that was money.
I am inevitable. I am Iron Man.
Yeah.
And I actually thought he was going to survive because maybe his suit would allow it.
Yeah.
But obviously not.
And also,
go on. I particularly like what they've done though is you've pushed Tony aside, you've pushed Cap aside, you've got Thor off the planet, you've made space.
Yeah.
And I'm a big proponent of change, and one of my biggest problems in comics is not enough change. And I really salute the fact that they're making space.
It's definitely a full stop, because the fact that you've killed Iron Man's dead, right? He's dead. Thor's gone. And he's not the Thor that we know anyway. So Thor's gone, right? I thought, maybe Cap's still going to be around, even though he's gone back in time. He'll still be about. So when he comes back and basically he's lived his life out and he's an old dude, he's done.
He's done. He's in retirement.
He's retired, in the best possible way. So you're right. It's clear. It's cleared the board, and it's weird because one of the things that happened at the end of the film that I didn't really like in the comics, but I thought worked much better in the film, was when he gave
Sam
the shield.
And part of me goes, aren't you setting him up to fail because he ain't had no super soldier serum apart from his wings? Yeah, he's just an ordinary human. I mean, so that's just people go, I'm going to test Captain America, and they're going to assume he's got the same kind of strength, and he hasn't.
I mean, to be fair, when he did it, I kind of was like, that's beautiful moment, because the way they've built up that friendship through them films.
Because right? We watched Winter Soldier the other night just to get ready for it. And, look, I'm watching it going, all right, Cap, I hope you find Bucky, but I want to be your best friend. Yeah. I was like, how are they going to do that? And I thought they did it really nicely.
And I think the fact that he was the first voice that he heard, because up until that moment, he didn't know that. They didn't really know the snap had worked.
Yeah, because Ant-Man said, I think it's worked, guys.
Yeah. So the fact that the first voice he hears is Sam, I think is quite important with what they do. But yeah, the minute he handed him shield, I was like, actually, it works in the film. I didn't like the way they did it I didn't really like it in the comics, but I think it worked in the film. However, literally 5 minutes after that, I was then kind of like, well, how's that work though? Because I know, like, he's now Captain America. He's got the shield, and someone said, yeah, but he's got wings. I'm like, yeah, but Cap's got the super soldier thing. The whole sequence before of him fighting Thanos would have been impossible for Sam.
Absolutely, exactly. And my thing is, and what I didn't like about it in the comics is, Sam's his own character. He's the Falcon, and the Falcon's wicked, and you've got to. I think you need to, and what he's learned to do with the Falcon, and he's got his little rockets that come out. That's a fully fledged character in itself. He don't need to be Captain America. And as much as I like that it was a good culmination to their friendship, that should belong to Bucky as far as I'm concerned, because Bucky's super soldier.
And this is the weird, and that's why it was a bit. It was weird. It was weird because in many ways, it's a heart versus head. That makes sense. Because heart-wise, you kind of want to go Sam, but head-wise, to me,
well, do you know what part of me?
Well, no, part of both. It's part of both.
I know this is not their intention, but part of me, I know they're probably just doing it because they did it in the comic. But part of me is going, what you're saying, Cap, is that the Falcon ain't good enough, so you may as well be Captain America. And I don't think that's what they intend to say. I don't think that's what. But in my mind, that's literally the first thing that went through my head. I was like, "What is the character of the Falcon not good enough?"
See, to me, that didn't come across. And that's what I mean. That's the difference, because that's what I got from the comic, but I didn't get that from the film. I didn't even necessarily get that he was saying to him that
No,
you're
no, no.
Captain
Things. I
America
don't
now.
think. I don't think. Sorry, say that again.
I didn't even necessarily get. I mean, I know what it means, but it even when he handed him the shield, I didn't even necessarily get a sense that he was going to right. I'm now going to go dress up and call myself. I don't know. I know, but I suppose the conversation that they had was like, well, what we're going to do with a world without Captain America, and then he gave him the shield. Oh, okay, it's pretty much on the nose, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm like, so Captain America's got wings now. Is that? What? I don't know. It just doesn't work for me. I'll be honest.
I think they had they had an opportunity to turn it on its head. In that, I think that given everything that he'd gone through with Bucky, and even though I think Bucky gave him the nod to say you go forward, and there's an element of Bucky's got too much, to use the term,
Yeah,
he's got too much red in his ledger.
yeah. I hear that.
For him to be Captain America, that wouldn't have worked because they've done such a good job on making him such a great character. But in many ways, from a physical and skills point of view, he's been the only one to kind of like match
Absolutely
Steve Rogers. Do you know what I mean? So from that perspective, so I don't know. But then they've got. But what I don't understand, this is what I mean. Yeah, he's got the shield, but they've got a TV series coming out which is called Winter Soldier and the Falcon.
Yeah.
So, and surely that's got to be set after this.
Yeah. And also, the other thing that was going through my mind is they've got a TV series with Scarlet Witch and the Vision. So, what?
Yeah, to be fair.
Part of me just wishes all of these things had been announced after Endgame.
Yeah. But, we're being pedantic because overall, it was an amazing achievement.
It was an achievement.
Because, 22 films? Whatever.
22 films. And I read somewhere that this phase, the director said this phase ends with Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, see, and I'm interested to see what that means.
Yeah, exactly. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Very quickly, because I've got to go now.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts about the post-credits sound?
Oh, yeah, that's... the way I took it, that was my boy building the Iron Man suit, innit?
Who?
Tony Stark. From the first Iron Man.
You think it was just a tribute, or...
Yeah.
To Tony? You don't think it was saying what's coming next?
No.
Okay.
No. I hope not, because I think, to me, it needed to not have an end credit.
Yeah.
It needed to say, that's us. You know what I mean? That's this chapter, novel, this grand adventure done.
Last thought. Do you think there was anything pertinent about the fact that when Black Widow was holding a sort of hologram conference, that one of the things they were reporting on was movements under the sea?
Were you thinking Submariner?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I haven't thought. And that dude was like key to he was like a proper Avenger dude.
Yeah.
He was properly key. Yeah, I'd forgotten about Submariner. That would be. Do you know what? I'm so excited to see where they go next.
I know, because it's like we've been following this saga for so long. Even though they didn't start it as the saga, they've made it tie in so well. I've got no idea what. They're coming with. They're going to have some sort of plan for the next phase.
Yeah.
What it is, let's see, man.
But I think
great jumping on point for people who there's people going, oh, I really wanted to watch it. It was like 22 movies, I just couldn't do it. There's your jumping on point.
Yeah, whatever comes next, man. Yeah, round us up, man.
So, you know the drill. If you've seen it, well, I'm assuming you've seen it, or why would you want to listen to this? Let us know what you thought. Were you disappointed, or did you love it? Do you want to celebrate 22 movies over 11 years? I think it's 11 years. Let us know how that film left you feeling. And you can do it by emailing us at geeksyndicate.co.uk, or on Twitter, Geek Syndicate, or on Facebook, or on Instagram, or you can check out the website if you want, geeksyndicate.co.uk. So until next time, geeks, assemble.
Assemble.